And good morning, everyone. We welcome you to Blues Game Day Live alongside Joe Vitale, Darren Pang here at United Center in the west side of Chicago. It's a large building.
It's the city you built, Panger.
I don't think I did. I think that guy named Michael Jordan kind of built the city.
But it's got to be great for you to come back to Chicago.
Yeah, it's fun.
You wore the Blackhawks jersey for a long time.
It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think back to some of the great battles between the Blackhawks and the Blues, and I remember getting ready, and you know, from the Blues side, you remember those battles going into the arena. I remember getting in that bus and going down into the arena. And going into the locker room, it wasn't real pretty down there.
Yeah, no.
But you knew you were in for something.
Yep.
You knew the fans were going to be on top of you. The same thing here, even though the buildings are different. I always love this rivalry. It's one of my favorite rivalries in hockey. Even though the Blackhawks haven't been the team that they were a few years ago, I still think that this game and this game tonight, I think it brings out the best in both teams.
Yeah, I do. I think it gets the teams excited. You mentioned the Blackhawks sitting on the bottom of the Central Division, which I think, heading into the season, this is kind of where a lot of people were thinking they might be. But you bring in Robin Leonard, and you think, is that going to be a spark on the back end? Corey Crawford has been playing pretty well as of late, but this is a team that has been dropping off quite a bit, and now the St. Louis Blues, who are coming in, maybe the hottest team in the West right now. But there is going to be a response here. It's an opportunity, again, for a team to knock off the champs. Robin Leonard, his comments after their last loss, he called it embarrassing to the Colorado Avalanche. So now it's going to be another fight back game for the Blackhawks here, and in their building with the rivalry, the emotions, and it's definitely not one you can just kind of skip over if you're the St. Louis Blues.
And Robin Leonard, the Blackhawks are having their morning skate behind us, a relatively quiet skate as well, and that maybe tells you where they're at right now. And but their goalie coach, actually Jimmy Waite, is in the other net. So Robin Leonard's doesn't even look like he's available as of this point anyway. And so we'll check on that. But there's always one player here on this team that is good as it gets, and that would be Patrick Kane. Likely a player that will be, I would say, a guaranteed player that'll be at the All-Star game in St. Louis in January. Yeah,
15-game point streak, I think, to date right now. He's looking to keep that going here, and it's amazing that, Darren, we've seen good players on good teams, and it's easy to be, not easy, but it's one thing to be a good player on a good team, but when you're a good player on a struggling team like the Chicago Blackhawks, it just speaks high volumes of what Patrick Kane means to this group, his offensive ability, his slipperiness. They did a poll earlier this year. I think NHL Network put it out, but they asked, I think, about a good handful of forwards, about 20 forwards, who would you hate to defend against? It was you. I think you asked them. I think you asked Colton Parayko, what forwards would you hate to defend against the most? And I remember a lot of the forwards, along with Colton Parayko, talking about it was Patrick Kane coming down.
Exactly
I remember that,
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, he's like a water bug out there. He's a unique player. Makes it difficult in the defensive zone coverage. He's the player individually that can ruin your defensive zone coverage because he will hang on to the puck and hang on to the puck. But I think I can picture two fast-skating defensemen that are very large and have a large reach of about 24 feet together. That would be Bouwmeester and Colton Parayko.
Yeah, that's right.
And I would see that would be a hard matchup for Craig Berube on the road.
Oh, I think so. And I think you look at Tampa Bay, you look at what they did with the Nashville Predators. Even this last game, for example, Darren, teams are just putting out their top lines against these two guys. And for a while there, Colton Parayko was with Petro. And then Bouwmeester maybe dropped down a little bit. But, I think Colton Parayko's at his best when he's playing with Bo. I think Bo's at his best when he's playing with Colton Parayko. And you mentioned the reach. Even in games where Colton looks like he's going to get ahead of it, lose the puck, and maybe lose a race, all of a sudden you see 1-2 strides and bam, he's right back to where the other guy is. So his ability to recover is something that Colton Parayko is just, it's really starting to kind of continue to evolve. And we're looking at in my opinion, one of the best shutdown defensemen in the league right now. And then as it continues, sometimes you forget how young he is and how much growth is still ahead for Colton Parayko.
It's got to be frustrating for the opposition when they're playing the Blues right now. The backside pressure, and often I'm between the benches, so I don't have that overhead view that you often have on the radio side from the booth. But our backtracking seems to be right now as good as it's been all season long. I can hear it on the bench. You can hear the encouragement from the players, and so for a guy like Colton Parayko and Bouwmeester, defending becomes a little bit easier knowing that you've got that backside pressure from the forwards. Is it the defending part of it as good as you've seen from the Blues so far?
It is, and it went back to when we played the Tampa Bay Lightning at home. So this is going back a few weeks ago now. I remember seeing it in that game, and that was a game they needed to be good because with all the offensive ability of the Tampa Bay Lightning in their building, I noticed it really come alive then. It's that back pressure from the forwards when Tampa was on the rush, and then you see it in Nashville. You saw it with Calgary. You saw it with every other team since then. When another team has got the rush, the defenseman being able to stand up at the blue line, you can't do it if you don't have back pressure. Because if it's a 3-on-2, you got to respect it. You got to back up. You got to give them the zone. But when you have Braden Shen, Ivan Barbashev, Tyler Bozak flying in the neutral zone right there, that allows you to get a tougher gap to step up and to poke pucks free. And Darren, another thing from up top that I've just been witnessing, you go back to that Pittsburgh game the other night in St. Louis. Yeah, teams are getting so frustrated by the back pressure. They're getting so frustrated by the Blues puck possession. They're really kind of starting to go off on their own page. Individually, they're kind of losing their systems, and they're taking chances when they're not supposed to take chances because you're frustrated. You don't have the puck. I think it was the coach before Pittsburgh. Who did we play before Pittsburgh there? Trying to think. This is always the tough one for me. Who did we play before Pittsburgh? Dallas. Jim Montgomery. Jim Montgomery said to me, thanks for picking me up, bud. Jim Montgomery said, it was hard. We didn't like our game because we didn't have the puck. It's hard to play when you don't have the puck. And I think we're starting to see teams take extra chances because they don't have the puck, and players get frustrated by that. It's a tough style of play against.
Even Pittsburgh on the PK. I mean, could get the puck off the wall, got a little antsy, left a man wide open in front of the net, and Jaden Schwartz. Okay, before we wrap this up, and by the way, it's a 7:30 game. 7:30 here in Chicago.
And we're playing the Blackhawks tonight.
Pre-game show is at 7 o'clock on the television side on Fox Sports Midwest. Of course, Scotty Warman and the Hall of Famer Bernie Federko. Boy, he had a lot of games. You talk about a ton of games in this series between the Hawks and the Blues. And then on the radio side, it's 1 hour pregame as always on ESPN.
That's right.
So Alex Ferrario, you're part of that. And Chris Kerber's got the call as well, beginning at 7:30 p.m. tonight. But the next man up mentality. As we wrap this up, Oscar Sundqvist is on the trip. Alexander Steen has been skating. And no players tonight like that. But you've got Nathan Walker, steps up, gets thrown on the top line with Shannon Schwartz. From your vantage point, that seemed like a really good fit. Craig Berube, at times, will stay the next game with what he switched to. But there's a lot of times where he stays loyal to the program and will put them right back into the place that they were before. Now, we don't know what he's going to do in this game, but I think he's got to be really happy with the way that the newer players competed it so far.
Absolutely. I mean, not that he's a newer player, but Ivan Barbashev, certainly the way he stepped up over the last couple of games. McEachran. I mean, these guys are playing hard. They're playing really hard. Nathan Walker got bumped up to that first line, as you mentioned.
And Troy
Brouwer as well. And Nathan Walker, I think this top line can use a little bit of 5-on-5 love. I think they need a little bit of more push from Jaden Schwartz and Braden Shen. And I think you put Nathan Walker up on that line. He's that feisty little fireball. He's going to skate. He's going to win puck battles. He's going to be the first one in on the forecheck. I think Braden Shen and Jaden Schwartz could really use that right now. So I like that call there. And not to mention on the back end, Robert Bortuzzo, he's available tonight.
That's exactly right.
Carl Gunnarsson warming up in the hallway, so he's feeling a little bit better.
Derek Pouliot was sent down to San Antonio, so
things are looking
played
up.
A couple of games. Yeah, things are looking up. You know that Robert Bortuzzo will be fired up, and Carl Gunnarsson was only out of the lineup because of a flu, a bug that hit him. I look forward, if Nathan Walker stays on that top line, what I really enjoy watching is the edge work. Nathan Walker, we've talked about him being a powerful skater, but he can stop on a dime. He can go fast to the corners. Jaden Schwartz is also one of those players that changes the direction of the game, changes the flow of the game. Those two wingers, they just have to feed off Braden Shen, and boy, that could be one successful line in a game like this tonight.
When he spins off checks, that's what it was. I mean, it was kind of like Jaden Schwartz.
Almost like a lacrosse player.
That's what I said to him. I said during the last game, he looks like Jaden Schwartz out there, but maybe a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit younger, but spinning off checks the way he does. He played rugby in Australia. He's used to rubbing on guys a little bit, spinning off bodies, going to the hard areas, and he's just got a great mindset. I love his attitude. Everyone loved him in the minors, and I really hope that he continues it because it's been a lot of fun watching him play on the top line.
John Kelly brought that to the table in Game 1 as he did his research on him and moved to the Czech Republic as a 13-year-old. Played hours on end in Australia, but there's not enough ice time. You got to go somewhere. If you love the game, you got to go somewhere. He went to the Czech Republic. He knows 4 languages. This kid's a really neat story. So hopefully you can keep this up, and hopefully you can keep it up as well. You're gonna have a great day today in Chicago.
I'm gonna have a beautiful
Christmas shopping done.
I don't know about that. I might hunker down a little bit.
That sounds good.
Yeah, how about you?
Good hair day today for you.
I'm hanging in there. I took a shower this morning.
That's good work, big guy. I didn't brush my hair at all. Tonight's game, 7:30. Don't forget about that. It's going to be a great day. And it's on the radio side on 101 ESPN. It's on the television side on Fox Sports Midwest. For Joe Vitale, I'm Darren Pang.